All right, everybody. Welcome to Pulse. It's time for another edition of our favorite live stream show on X and YouTube, coming at you from the Chad's Media. I'm the host, Brandalf, and today we will be hosting an absolute legend in the Polygon space and one of my near and dear friends, BigNill. Of course, he is on the team of the Daturians and also Magic Eden, with a whole lot going on and just a really essential guy to the ecosystem out there. So hopefully we can have just an awesome conversation, and I can come up with some questions that I haven't asked him before. So, without any further ado, here is the man himself, BigNill. Welcome to Pulse. How you doing today?
Doing excellent, Brandoff. Just appreciate the platform that you provide for all of our people out here, the resources, everything that's involved, and just appreciate you being part of the ecosystem. We've had a lot of great connections over the last year, basically. It's been a great 2023, and what a great way to end 2023 in general, and just take a bunch of great momentum into 2024. So I appreciate you having me.
Thanks for being here, man. All right, just getting everything set here with my dashboard. And of course, we have been hanging out already today because it is the Legion of Gloom Mint, and obviously launching on Magic Eden. So shout out to you guys for that launch, and they were also Creator Fund awardees. So really exciting, and I think that's where everyone is today. So
For sure.
good thing we're recording because we've got a healthy mint party going on right now, and hopefully there's a couple left in public for us to snag by the time we're done with this. So, BigNill, you've been on Polygon since, boy, a long time, right? You got your start on DraftKings and then found your way to some low gas. Uh, can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, of course. And that's exactly how it kind of started for me. So I was always, as far as like my interest goes, all my interest in kind of cryptocurrency and the ecosystem of blockchain started right during 2020, essentially right around COVID time, right? So inside, kind of just locked inside. I was investing in different areas. I was looking at stock trading. I was a big GameStop and AMC guy. Like that's kind of where my interest in like explosive growth, I guess you could say, took hold. And I was like at home. Everyone is, and I'm still at home doing all my work still. I was locked into different like streamers, right? So I was looking at different people that are watching charts, teaching people the education avenues of that. And what I was looking at is all those things kind of grew into people watching different coins, right? Like Doge was a big one. Never got that invested in Doge, but like it was something I was looking at and everyone else was watching. There was a big craze around that direction, and that just kind of led me into like doing my own research on things. I got very interested in the tech, right? So I'm always somebody when I look at something, I see it for kind of its face value. I always dive in deeper and I understand like what does this actual have, what's the actual intricacies of what's going on in more detail. And so I looked into specific ecosystems. I got really into Ethereum, dove deep into Chainlink, so like an Oracle system, still very heavily involved in Chainlink as well too. And then that, one of my, the degeneracy of AMC and GameStop led into the degeneracy of sports gambling. Everyone's inside. We're coming out. It's 2021. And like I said, like you said, their NFT marketplace had just opened up, right? So little sports trading cards that essentially had a famous person on one side and some stats on the back. Pretty straightforward. They could be bought with a credit card, right? So it was super dangerous. My wife was super confused. You could buy them on a Tuesday for $20, sell them on a Wednesday for $200, and I was like, all right, like something's going on here. I'm not really sure what. Yeah, it was pretty wild. So I jumped in and I just started doing like more research on like what NFTs were. And when you flipped over the cards, it said, a bunch of stats, but also said like powered by Polygon. And so I didn't know what Polygon was. I wasn't very, wasn't into that tech as much yet. And so I started doing my research on Reddit, on Twitter. I started poking around a bunch of places, and I naturally fell into Polygon NFTs. Like I never had really gotten exposure to any other ecosystem And when I looked at their ecosystems and I started like looking at like, oh, I can buy things, I can sell things. I was looking at different platforms. My mind couldn't justify gas transactions. Like it never made sense to me. I was like, you mean I have to like spend money just to interact with this asset and in order to have it, and it costs like, and this was back when before the merge and all the, before Ethereum got more efficient, it's gonna like cost like 3 times as much just based on that. It totally threw me off, right? So I focused more on some other things. I found naturally I ran into people like Dave Swinbank, Creative Owls. They were hosting spaces in the education direction, and I sat
Nice.
there. Yeah, I just sat there for a long time and just learned. Right. So that was the main thing, and that's kind of how I got started. Do you want me to go into more detail on there, or do you want me to kind of pause there?
Man, like I think Tuan is asking where he can get a Daturians shirt.
Yeah, this is like OG. Well, I've had this thing for like 3 years. Need to update these bad boy. Yeah, so these are like what's it called? Embroidered Datorians like marketing merch, right?
Yeah.
I wear them at conferences. In my opinion, the logo is too big, but I think it looks kind of cool regardless.
No,
Um,
that's a good size because even on video, I can
it's
see it.
big.
I can tell what it is.
Exactly. So we'll be doing a lot more things. Yeah, I'll take the old one.
I've got
You
that
gotta,
one on my Chromebook.
yeah, there we go. There we go. I see
Got
it there.
some Daturians here and
Yeah.
here and another one down here.
Hell yeah, dude.
Got the sticker pack.
We're gonna do a lot of cool things with merchandise. We think again, this is getting ahead of the conversation, but we think the IP and the branding and the direction that we're taking it in is really really unique, right? I think it has a lot of real world applications because it's plants. It's kind of speaking on like mental wellness and like it's a plant growing out of your head, right? So it kind of plays in very well to those terms there. But yeah, Twan, you're probably a medium. I'll find. I think I'm 99% sure I have an extra medium that will never fit a guy my size. So I'll set them down to you, Twan. Don't worry. But so where things kind of led, right? I was sitting in spaces for like 4 or 5 months, right? And everyone knows me as like the guy that can't not press request. I'm always on stage with people. I didn't request for a long time. Like I sat there and I didn't know anything that was going on. So I just sat back and learned. Like I said, like Creative Owls is like kind of like one of my mentors out here, and he taught me a lot about how the tech works and what for myself. Like I come from a Web 2 marketing background, right? So I was always doing things in marketing analytics and how messaging works and all those kind of things that are in the details there. And so I had no experience in Web 3, so I was just listening to how people market in a different way based on community, based on art and utility and all these different things, right? And so it kind of piqued my interest. I dove into a bunch of different projects. Beluga Bay is like an OG that was out here for a long time. So I dove into his project. Crazy Bears, if everyone knows Crazy Bears, are still out here on Polygon making moves. I still got my bag of Crazy Bears. So believe in the IP, believe in the creator. And I don't sell things very often. I hold on to my assets pretty close. But I jumped into those projects and it taught me a lot about like how you build these things over time. And that just naturally kind of led me into Daturians, right? And how that kind of started. It was just like in a shill channel, right? Like one of my friends who's on the Daturians team still, her name is Darcel. She like tagged me in a post on Twitter and was like, "Yo, like no, like check this out. This looks really cool." And I found Daturians. It was like the first post, right? Like 100 followers, like 10 Discord members, super young, and I was like, "Yo, this is too cool. Like it's unique. I love it." So I jumped into the Discord and I reached out to the team and I was like, "Hey, what's the deal with the Torians? Like, what do you like? Can we jump on a call and just have a conversation about it?" And they were all very open and honest. It's like best friends from Lithuania. Two of them are married. They have kids, the whole nine. And they were all focused on the art and the tech direction. So they didn't have a marketing effort yet. And I was like, I have no proven record in this, but I have a lot of Web 2 experience. So let's just try, right? So I jumped in and obviously was off to the races, and my entire life is completely different because some strangers from Lithuania took a shot at a kid from Cleveland, which has been obviously one of the best things that ever happened.
Lucky guy, man. That first one that I jumped into off of Twitter was some dudes in Romania, and it didn't work out. We'll just say that. It was on Solana. I bought a bunch of them. The mint failed. They stopped trying. And, I did the same thing for about another year and a half before trying something different. So it's really amazing to see how those personal connections can really make the difference out here.
Yeah,
And that's something that I see you living every day, is the power of personal connections in a digital community. I mean, I don't think anybody, maybe Matic Man, jumps on as many phone calls as you do. As soon as anybody on the timeline expresses an ounce of interest in Polygon, there's BigNill. Hey, I'm available if you'd like to talk. I can answer all your questions,
yeah, my
and it's
Calendly link
so
gets thrown
effective.
around. It's good though. Like, it's funny. You mentioned that, and it's one of those things. Like, I've always been a personal relationship guy, right? And I understand like crypto is like there's like a shroud of mystery behind it. Like, it's permissionless. That's good, great, wonderful. In my opinion, also there needs to be a level of transparency for a lot of these things, and the blockchain allows us to do that. But also like the creators, I think there also needs to be a transparency on that side too, because like we're trusting ourselves to people that we've never met before, right? And it needs to build a level of trust as well. While we do act in like a permissionless area and trustless, I believe that for creators and everything else that we're doing, we need to make sure that people like build a layer of trust with our communities directly. And so yeah, like I got off a call yesterday with somebody that just posted like, "Yo, we're coming to Polygon." Just off the rip, I had never talked to this person, and I jumped on a call with them the next day because I think that like and Smokey and a lot of the leadership says this, that onboarding is not going to be a wave; it's going to be one-to-one conversations, and I really believe that because like all those little activities just ripple out, right? So I think that's kind of how it works. And I appreciate those words too. It's one of those things that like like you said, I've never had success trading. I've never had success grinding whitelists. I've never made money that way. But what I've had a lot of success in is building and having those connections, right? So that's where it comes down to me, and that's where I've had the most, the best portion of my best experience here has been in that direction specifically.
Absolutely, man. Grinding discords and trying to scramble for those mad hyped allow lists was never fun, man. That stressed me out. But building trust is part of what we're looking to do with this format on Pulse. So here we are, random talking heads from the timeline. We've got Brandalf, we've got BigNill. If you're on the Polygon timeline at all, you've seen our names. Not trying to flex, but the point is, here we are. We are real dudes who even at one time lived in the same city. And we're going to talk about ideals, we're going to talk about connections, we're going to talk about building personal relationships and digital communities, but we're also going to do it publicly. We're not going to hide, we're not going to be anonymous, we're not going to use stickers on our faces or lidar camera, because I think a lot of this is really down to making it personal. As we've seen over the last couple of years, the narrative from some of the mainstream media has been just inherently ignorant and negative biased, right? NFTs are a scam. I've even seen a recent article where the cost to mint an NFT was basically equated to zero point 0.7 Bitcoin. Like, somebody didn't do their research. And
Yeah,
so I think, you and I kind of agree on ways to help people be more comfortable with this emerging technology. Because as we've seen through the 90s and early 2000s, many new groundbreaking technologies come in, be faded, be fudded, and then eventually take off and become the new foundations of our social systems and our financial systems and our technological capabilities. And I think that that's what we're looking at here with the permissionless system, with zero knowledge proofs, with self custody of assets. And, I'm hoping that we can reach some people that maybe don't know us from the timeline, who are curious about what all this is and what it might mean for them in the very near future. So,
I
where
want
do
to
you
say on that
think?
too, Brandolph.
Oh yeah,
I agree with you 100%, and I think that the way that we're producing things at this level, I mean, our ecosystem is young. We're young leaders. Like we've still like we have a lot. I personally, whenever I see like an issue going on, or like I see like a fault in the ecosystem, I go, how do I act on this first, right? Like how do I make this better? And I think that what you're seeing is like we just need more communication channels, right? Like that's what it comes down to. Like we need things like this, right? We need more lines of things that get out our knowledge to people, and we need to change our messaging from just doing one thing one way, like just staying on Twitter or X at this point, right? We need to make sure we diversify those things so that we can essentially break this narrative that's being said. So I didn't mean to cut off your question, but I wanted to respond to that point too.
No, this is great. I was getting a little too clicky in my banner here. It looks like Family's looking for a shirt too, but we're making comments under the same account. Um, so where was it going to go with this? Yeah, so I was doing a lot of X or Twitter Spaces. I know you were too. And for about 8 months this year, I have to say, at the beginning, like you, I was not joining as a speaker. And when I did, somehow something inside of me became just wildly nervous and uncomfortable. And it took a couple of months and maybe 20 or 30 stage speaking attempts before I could suppress the feeling as though I had just run up 2 flights of stairs. And to speak to what you're saying about changing the avenues, right? We are now live. This is a new type of content. It enters the X algorithm differently. Part of it is I don't like not being able to see all the friends and family in the audience and add more people to the stage for questions and things of that nature. However, with the changes that they're making at X, I think that the video content and long form content is going to be more of a feature as they try to become more of a Twitter plus YouTube plus TikTok plus Meta. I don't know. But we're also concurrently live on YouTube, which I think is by and large untapped in the Web3 community. I know there are many crypto streamers, and there are some people like Jarek, who is working with us at the Chads Media, who are producing YouTube content. But I think it's a lot more accessible to the everyday person around the world. What you see on the timeline on X is largely dependent on who you're following and the posts that you engage with. But on YouTube, you can search for things and they actually pop up. Imagine that. And we've got Shandon from the Chads Media watching on YouTube for the first time. Shout out to Shan. We got De-Engineer in the house, and love to see everybody jumping in on the comments. There are some fun games that we can drop in as layers on this with the people in the comments. In fact, I can show comments right here. Here's Shandon.
There we
First
go.
time on YouTube.
How fun.
De-Engineer. Heyo. Are you running? Is he out for a run? Don't run and text.
Yeah.
He's going to run in YouTube. But it's really about expanding the signal and making our personal connections and our time more worthwhile. And I think that the more that we can get this message across to the everyday person out there, that people who are making content and being heard, we all started in the same place, and that's 0 followers, unsure about Twitter, nervous in spaces, and it really is just a step-by-step journey. But I do want to focus a little bit more on Daturians. So I know that, as an ecosystem supporter, as a Magic Eden guy, your focus is very frequently on other people and other projects. And I know that a lot of people out there might have a few questions about Daturians. So I want to encourage any viewers to drop your questions in the comments, and I can share them like I did with D-Engineers Heyo on the little ticker. So, firstly, we have seen a few things about V2 Daturians and greenhouses. Can you give us a little sneak peek into what that is about, and maybe a little timeline alpha on when we can expect to get our wallets filled with more Flora fam?
Yeah, so like for everyone to get a history of like what we did, like our mint process, again, we launched when we were one of like 6 or 7, if that many, PFP projects over on Polygon, right? Started with a good amount of them. The bear market came. We launched on February 22nd of 2022. Right. So we're gonna hit 2 years here in the springtime or in the late winter. It was one of those things where we were so early on that we did, it was hard to get traction, right? But because we were at a good quality level, it made too much sense just to like keep striding forward, like be consistent, be out here, hope for the best for the ecosystem, and see what kind of happens. And we really believed in the technology, and we thought that give it time, let this market stabilize, and there will be a good opportunity for people. And so our mint process, like for V1, it took a long time, right? I think that in total we did 2 kind of like stages of 2,000 pieces. Our entire goal was to release an 8,020 piece collection. We ended up doing 2 stages of like 2005, right? So it was 2005 that lasted about 4 months, and then another set of 2005, and that took another about 4.5, 5 months, right? So we wrapped up this last stage earlier this year, like basically at the tail end of, or the middle of summer, essentially it happened, and it was obviously real special for the community, but to gain the attention of like new users, and especially to like add like to capture like essentially new eyeballs, it's like necessary for us to do a second launch, right? With enhanced art, with new collections, with new abilities, and kind of redirect our project just to have a little bit more formula behind it, right? So like I've done a lot of like game planning, and kind of working with my team to make sure that this goes as well as possible. We're adjusting some things to make sure that we find like our right niche in the marketplace. So I've spoken about this a few different times, and it's just obviously excited to keep speaking about it. But the Torians are going to be really unique, right? We've always been kind of in our own lane. The art is obviously done very well by my artist Donatus. I want the dash shirt. I guess we got to produce more shirts. That's what it comes down to. But we and one of those areas is going to be God damn it, yeah, I can't get. Yeah, we'll work in the utility tokens for everything that happens there. But when it comes down to it, the art's going to be very different. It's going to be, and if anyone kind of like views my timeline and jumps into Daturians, if my internet decides to cooperate, I can share that. But it's going to be from the perspective of doing things in a little bit more unique manner. The art is in a left-facing kind of, it's in a left-facing direction. So here, I'm loading it up right now. Boom, boom, boom. Learning on the
Yeah,
fly.
I'm left facing right now.
Yeah,
How
exactly.
does it? How's the vibe? Does it smack
I think it smacks pretty
versus
well.
right facing?
Exactly. So I'm loading up the page. I don't know how it looks on your end. Does it look okay? Um,
Oh, screen sharing. Nice. Let's do this.
yeah, does that work? Is that working right now?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just pop it in here.
This time.
Boom.
Yeah. So the art is obviously pretty unique. Like Gen 1 Tutorians, I still think are very cool, and they have a lot of great aspects to them. But as my artist grows, like the skills grow as well too. So we have a lot of different traits. And what we did for Gen 2 is we actually opened up something called our seed barrel, which is you have the ability, and we did this originally for a one-of-one collection. You have the ability to essentially have user submitted plants, right? So people were taking pictures from their garden, they were taking pictures they found online, and they were submitting plants to be included in Gen 2. So there's a Gen, so there it is. There's a Gen 1 collection that was just collected by one of our good friends here, DJ. And then we have a Gen 2, which is obviously left facing and just a little bit more enhanced. It has a little bit more detail oriented with it. Again, Gen 1s. And then if we scroll down, we see something from Gen 2, right?
Ooh, look at
Um,
that one.
yeah, so
Got like
Gen
an
2's
eyeball, like a Mayan eyeball flower.
Exactly. So Gen 2 has some unique traits to it. It's going to be much more intuitive. It's going to have a lot more enhancements in the art themselves, and they're going to look kind of unique in that direction, right? So you see like one of our mushroom traits with the dripping fungi kind of pus or something you could call it there. And when it comes down to it, we're just looking to make our universe a little bit more evolved. As we've grown, the universe deserves to evolve as well too. So we'll be doing a lot of cool things in that way. And then I'll stop sharing so we can come back in. And then so what happens is we're there we go. Proof. So the Gen 2 will be launching here in Q1. We haven't unlocked dates yet. We're just solidifying plans with Launchpad partners and all those details that come into that process. So we're making sure that that kind of wraps up. It'll be a similar size collection, 4,020, similar to the same for the first collection. Anybody that holds Gen 1s will be eligible to receiving free Gen 2s. So every single, if you hold we're kind of doing it in a scaling process, right? So 1 to 5 means you get one, 6 to 10 you get two, and it scales up every 5 from that. So we're not doing a 1-to-1 claim. We still want some of these to be sold, right? So Gen 2 is going to be in that claiming aspect. I think we've had over like 100 wallets submit so far, and if you hold Daturians, like, please submit. We want to give these out for free to you,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, exactly. So we'll get these out to our people. We'll do some cool things in them. It'll be very affordable. It'll be effective. We're not looking to make $1 million. We're just looking to sustain a cool ecosystem. So as that goes on, we'll mint out that collection. We'll do some very cool things. We have staking and running through ONFT. We have our seed token, which is Discord, and it'll be integrated to ONFT as well too. So we've already done a lot of cool claims, like one-of-one creations for our community members. We do certain things like IRL painting. So our artist is actually a physical artist as well too. So she'll paint a Daturian for you and pass that over, send it out to you directly. So that's kind of like the benefits of collecting the token interior to our community. And then the big portion of this that it integrates into is our greenhouse collection. So the greenhouses are pretty unique as well too. I'm currently scanning as fast as I can to find a greenhouse, and I can load up a few here as well. The greenhouse collection is very unique. It essentially is, and again, everything. The unique thing about Daturians is everything that we decide to do is voted on by our community members, right? So when we talked about like a free airdrop, and we talked about doing additional art, we allowed our community members to vote on 4 different options. There was options like, we talked about fertilizer, right? Fertilizer to enhance your Daturian and change it itself. We talked about companions, so like a Daturian, like Buddy or like a Offspring or something in that direction. But what our community members decided to do is go with greenhouses. So I've shared that to the screen. I'm not sure what's coming through there, but
Yeah, I think we've got it up, and
beautiful.
I'm pretty sure that our audio is still audible.
That was the one hiccup there before, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, but it looks like it's good on my end too. So no, so we have greenhouses, and all the cool part about greenhouses is all the traits. And I'll scroll up here one more time. All the traits you have in the
Ooh,
Torians, they have related traits in the greenhouse collection as well, right? So there's
that's
going to be things
fantastic.
exactly, and they're really unique. I think they're done extremely well. They're done to ensure. Here's more Gen 2 Tutorials, but also they're done to ensure that the collection has a lot of cohesion involved with it. I'm trying to see if there's one more down here. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Nah, I think that's all of them up there. But
Oh,
regardless,
hey, those were mine.
you saw yours down there.
Yeah, saw a couple of mine on there. I'm famous now. Woo!
There we go. But yeah, so all the all the Tutorians, Gen 1 and Gen 2, will have a claim alongside of the greenhouse collection. So we'll mint out that collection. We'll have a reveal process. The reveal process will go off, and then you'll instantly be able to go over to our website, and you'll be able to claim your greenhouses as well too. So that's kind of the big portion of Tutorians is it's all about like connecting the story that we've built along with the universe that is continuing to evolve, right? So the one big thing, and I'll kind of load up our entire gallery, right? The big thing about our collection is the metadata that's included inside of it, right? So we have 3 big pillars at Tutorians, and the one that we like really have crafted out that's already completed, basically all the rest of it is like still in the works, is our storytelling aspect. And we think that storytelling is something that's like way undervalued in NFTs because we want to be able to create like an emotional connection. It's probably why like our listed rates really low. It's probably why we have the success that we do and why our community is so connected is because they're connected to the assets that we release for them, right? So I'll share this screen as well too. This is called our Daturians gallery. And so what's really unique about the gallery is it's built on our side, right? So there's an entire like UI UX design that's integrated into our website, and it's connected to all the assets that we have, right? So we have Daturians, we have signature Daturians, we did a charity collection for Ukraine, and we have our collab collection, right? So if we click into the Daturians, you're going to see all the details that go onto the entire collection themselves, right? So you can click into any of the different Daturians. You can see these are all the newest. If you go to a top rank, it loads all the top ranked Daturians, right? So there's different ones that kind of rank at different levels. So if you click into a Daturian specifically, you're going to see all the metadata that we've embedded into a Daturian itself, right? Marketplaces, any marketplace, whether you're using the best ones or the worst ones, you'll be you'll you'll be seeing you're going to see like a slice of the information that metadata is included there. We have about 40 times as much metadata embedded into our collection as a typical marketplace can handle, right? So you're going to see things like families, right? This is the open dudes. You can see through them. You're going to see just different details on why they're like who they are and what they do. You're going to see their location, and everything has a crest associated with it. So this is the Pompadronia. This is the crest of the Pompadronia area, and it's kind of the involvement in what this is all about. You're also going to see like what their genetics is, what their occupation is. This one's a graffiti artist, so they like painting houses and crafting and creating. You're going to see special abilities. So apparently this Daturian can stream chill hop anytime he wants to. You're going to see the
That's
flower.
utility.
I know that's utility alone, right?
Does it
So you're going to
actually
see
stream chill hop?
it will in the future.
Yes.
So we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. But and then you kind of can scroll down and you'll see the entire map, right? The next evolution of this and what we're releasing in Q1 of 2024 is going to be the integration of the map and your Daturians. You're going to see where they are in this beautiful universe that we've created, right? This is our own planet. It's called 1270 Datura. It's an asteroid up in space. It's in the Flora asteroid belt. So it kind of plays into our whole lore. And it's like
Yeah.
an astral asteroid. There's actually a Flora asteroid belt, and this actually exists. The Daturian universe obviously is created on top of it. So we were going to
Are you
have.
sure it's not real
I
and
mean,
that
you
this
never
was
know.
informed by universal subconscious connections?
You can hope so. That's what I'm hoping for, honestly. But you can see all the different cities. It's very unique to our lore and our details and everything in it. There's deserts and there's different forest areas. There's ice areas. There's satellites and different kind of rocks off of that. And so it kind of all plays into it, as well as this portion. This is actually an active portion of what your Daturian is doing. And the Daturian currently is painting art, right? So that is kind of what the detail goes into a Daturian itself. The next evolution that will be built on top of this Daturian gallery is the user dashboard, right? So the user dashboard will be very unique to our collection. You'll be able to load in, connect your wallet, and essentially see all the Daturians that you collected. And it'll tell you all the different locations that they have and all their different activities, so it can kind of live in one big hub. So that's kind of where Daturians comes into it with the storytelling. It's very detailed. It's creating a universe for you to operate as well into, and that's where the lore and everything is taking us into. You having experiences inside of our planet, right? Not only is it just like not only is our planet like just for like show and like, oh yeah, the lore is in there, it's all cool. We're building this out in a digital sense so that you can explore the planet with us, which is going to be a very cool aspect of our process here.
Fantastic, man. So I understand that there is an RPG associated with this. Are we going to be um, co-storytelling or role playing? Are we going to do some Daturians LARP? What is the plan? I myself have played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. Obviously, I'm a big fan of wizards and stuff like that. So when do we pick our Daturians character and start playing?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that we're formatting the universe is it's associated with like an RPG role, like a role playing game, right? So it's going to be involved where there's a passive and an active aspect to that game. My tech lead is actually he's got a ton of focus in AI, and he has actually his full time job, right? Like what he has a patent for and what he's actually produced, is he's created an AI software that is that has the ability to read. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It has the ability to read human thought and allow mute people to speak. Like that is the level of that is the level of AI that this guy is playing around with. Like I know, right? He has his masters in that, right? So
What?
I know, right? Like that's tech that's being developed, right? So that level of AI is going to be involved in the Datorian world. So there'll be the passive aspect is kind of like a farming aspect, right? You have a Datorian, you pair it with your greenhouse. Your greenhouse has a location, and you collect different assets in that way, right? The active side of that is you have a Datorian, you have a greenhouse. He has activities that he can do. He can do those around his area, or he can go out and have interactions with other Datorians based on his traits, right? So if he is in XYZ family, right? If he is like a seed thief, right? He can go out and steal seeds and tokens from other people. If he is a ear removal specialist, he can change Datorian's traits and do different things in that direction. And all those things like play into our lore, and all those activities will have associated reactions, right, with the AI that we're building inside of the universe, and it'll change which faction, which family is controlling different portions of our world. So it's going to be pretty involved. This build takes a while, right? So our entire goal is to release things for our community to interact with now. You all being a part of the storytelling is a massive portion of this. The user dashboard will have an area for you to write your own stories inside of it, so we can integrate your thoughts into your Datorians and inside of the RPG game.
Awesome. So speaking of my thoughts, will tinfoil block your AI guy from infiltrating my dome?
Yeah, I hope
And
so.
if your AI guy can read our thoughts, why do we need to submit them?
Yeah, you're right. I have no idea. These are all actually I think they're brain implants, like chip implants that actually have
Okay,
to read those. So like you
I didn't
need
get one yet.
monitors. You're
I
clear.
didn't get one yet, so
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna sign up for that. I'm not minting the thoughts monitor.
I think
I think that
I think you need
I'll fud
some.
that for a little while. I'm nervous about emerging technologies.
Yeah.
We're pushing 40 now, so they call me a boomer on Twitter.
Yeah,
Uh,
actually though. Yeah, there's the tech that he plays with is obviously really high end, and that's nothing I have any kind of exposure to. But to have somebody with that level of skill with our team is pretty impressive, and obviously we're excited for him to have aspects into our game that make a lot of sense for us. So we won't be reading your thoughts, but I can guarantee that we're going to be building in a very detailed oriented way where it'll work with our ecosystem very well. So.
right on, man.
Mhm.
So we also can't go through the show without talking about this, but you and your lovely wife recently had a baby. How is that? Well, first of all, congratulations, and I hope you like the big stick-on fuzzy mustache that I sent you for
So funny,
photos.
dude. Oh my god.
How is it going being a new parent and navigating the waters of the interwebs in Web3?
I mean, it's easily been the craziest experience ever, right? And to be honest, it adds to a level of motivation. Like I was already pretty self-motivated. Everyone knows, like I'm an active guy. I'm on the timeline all the time. I'm in spaces. I'm making moves for my community. I'm really trying to grow our ecosystem in all sense, like beyond Polygon. I'm just trying to make Web3 like the thing for people. So I educate people in my real life of why this technology matters and all that kind of stuff, right? But now it's kicked up a whole other notch that like I'm trying to create something so special that I literally get to influence like the next generation, right? And that's why I'm so passionate about what Daturians is doing, is because I want this brand to last where my son basically like inherits it, or when he is in like his infancy and he's going through life. There's like real life aspects that Daturians involved with. The like again, I kind of touched on our pillars. Like our second big pillar is our branding. So it's storytelling, and then that kind of aligns with branding. And we see branding in a lot of different ways, but one of those things that we see Datorians working well in is in like kids' toys and in kids' storybooks, right? So like I think that Daturians is very uniquely positioned to be like the family friendly brand of the blockchain, right? That's kind of like what we're modeling it for. You're seeing this work for a lot of different brands, but because we're not like an animal, we're not like a humanoid, we're very different. It kind of has its own like perfect lane to have a unique storytelling and child friendly aspect. So my entire motivation, like since I've had my kid, like it's obviously I stepped back for a long time, right? I had to. He's 2 months old on Saturday, so he's still like really young. I try to stay involved as I can, but for a good month and a half, I was like pretty radio silent. And I'm a guy known that is I'm a guy that's known for like not being radio silent, right? So I stayed away. I locked into learning how to be a dad. Obviously, that's an ever evolving process. I learn how to be a dad a little bit more every day. But I want him to know that like there's something that's happening with our brand, and it's going to involve him as one of my motivative factors. So it's been a really special time for my wife and I. Obviously, we're heading into our first holiday. We're going to celebrate Christmas over here, and it's going to be a very it's just another fun adventure that we get to go on together. My wife's an absolute saint. Like she allows me to talk to strangers on the internet all day long, right? Like, and she allows me to do all these things and travel and go to conferences and basically like give a good portion of my life to Web3 because she knows it's something I've fallen in love with. And now it's changing everything that we get to do. It's obviously offering like I work at Magic Eden now. There's another income stream for us because of Web3. Daturians is providing some stability in that direction as well too. And now there's this opportunity to build like a brand behind it. I've got like the very first thing that we'll be doing, and here's like some live alpha, some IRL alpha, is our pin collection, which we're bringing live.
Pins.
Yes, everyone loves a
All
good pin in
right.
Web3. Yeah, so we're bringing our live pin collection here in about 3 weeks. So these will be going live, obviously, for sale. So this is our holly plant, which is obviously on top of our one Datorian character. So the holly plant is going to be there as well. I have like 5 more. I only want to show 2. We got to keep a little bit under wraps sometimes. We also have our sunflower, right? So our sunflower is very unique. It has a little bit of tech involved in it as well too. So you see, it's almost a laser trait. Everyone loves lasers in NFTs, and it's coming from our sunflower plant as well, right? So we believe like the
Wow.
branding and like the IRL aspects of Web3 are going to be very influential into what we can do long term, right? So why we are building in the branding direction and why like we're going to do pins, we're going to do different apparel pieces, we're going to do toys, and we're going to do storybooks, and we're going to create things for our kids to get involved with is because we believe that that family aspect. And like I said, I'm a family person now. I have my kid, my artist, their husband and wife artist team, and they have 2 kids on their end. We like I would say like a good portion, almost like 60-70% of my Flora fam, like my holders, have kids of their own. So this is like it's like a family affair at this point, right? Like we want people to experience this in a digital sense, but also in a physical sense with their entire family, their kids, with their nieces and nephews and everybody that's involved here. And that's kind of how we're building, is to make sure that there's like a parenting aspect, pins, apparel, all those things, but also a child aspect, toys and storybooks and everything that's involved on that side, that we think is going to round things out very nicely for the branding portion of our build.
Fantastic. So we want to get some people connected with you and with Daturians. So I'm going to go ahead and type in here your X handle. If you are watching this on X, I have some reposts of BigNill on my timeline, but you can also find Daturians. Nil, it's BigNill Collect with no underscores.
At BigNill Collect. Yep.
So you want to connect with BigNill. You want to find Daturians, and they've got an X profile. They've got a Discord channel as well, and that's where you're going to find a lot of the answers and material that are not on the website, which is, of course, Daturians.com. So how can, look at this, I got myself a Daturians pin.
There it is.
What do Daturians holders need to do to get themselves the fancy stickers and pins like I got.
Yeah, for sure. So first generation Daturian holders, and that's you had that pin, and you have stickers and all these other kind of things, postcards you've done. So like some IRL like assets. Those are for 10 for holders of 10 and more. So anybody that has 10 or more, they can jump into our Discord. We have a submission form, and they can push out that to we can push those out like basically the same day, right? So we have that fulfillment and all that stuff. We send those out pretty quickly. All of our next level assets are going to be purchasable through our website, right? So next level assets being the pins and the merchandise, being apparel and storybooks will be purchasable with discounts that are built in for our holders, right? So the first level of assets were free, right? So 10, if you hold 10, they're free. We will be doing a bunch of different kickbacks in the second level assets in the physical sense for new mints, right? So previously it was just for holding 10. If anybody knows, and I've now been working in Web3 for 2 years at this point, unsustainable just to give out free things. So we will have some mint kickbacks. Like if you mint X amount, there will be like free things that you gain from our apparel. But moving forward here, it'll be a purchase with a wallet connect with a discount based on your holdings. And then we'll be able to send those things out as well too. So again, we're going to start very simply, like our branding, if anyone looks into it, it's very like clean and simple. Like we're not here to like throw up terrible merchandise with way too many shades on it with like, everybody's logo. Like I know Twan was asking for the shirt. You can have this shirt. We're going to build better ones. Right. We're going to do things like, if you can kind of look here, and I'll just really quickly show that logo right there. Very, very simple and small, right? Like it's literally ears coming off of a character with a wiggle on top, right? Exactly. Beautiful. Thank you for zooming in.
Okay.
Um,
There we go. So
yeah.
you've dialed it back a little bit, gone a little more conceptual. I'm gonna
Right.
need to update my Chromebook stickers.
Ooh. Oh my God, I got some shine. There we go. So it'll be like really very small aspects that are cool to build in the logos, but all of the like all the things that we build will look like you were if it was promoted to a Web 2 brand, it will look like you like a regular person that's not Web 3 native would want to wear it, right? That's like why our
Regular people.
yeah, right. We don't like those people. But like our Instagram, right? Like I'm in the process currently of combing our entire Instagram. I'm going to wipe the entire thing. We have around 1,800 followers directly on Instagram, and that's going to be completely like a merchandise site, right? So like it's because we think that there needs to be a bridge. If you look at how different aspects of different bigger projects have done it, Pudgy Penguins and Sappy Seals, their Instagrams are completely Web 2 friendly. Like there's not talks about assets, there's not talks about digital collectibles or anything like that. It is really making sure that people know that there's a brand here and I want to be associated with the brand regardless of how you connect with it. If it's apparel, if it's toys, if it's whatever it may be, right? And so that's the area that we'll head in for as far as like our apparel goes, is making sure that it's Web 2 friendly, small logo, really really intricately done, very basic, but anybody like the one example I give is my wife instantly saw the sunflower pin and was like, "Can I put that on the baby's diaper bag?" Right? That's like if I can accomplish that with a bunch of people, we've won, right? Like, and if I can,
Dude, I'll
yeah,
tell you, I had no idea, but about a month or two ago, I found out that my entire family collects pins.
there we go.
And they trade them with people, and I think it's like centered around Disneyland. I'm not sure.
Oh my,
But they
yes,
started pulling out boards and bags, and they all had like 300 or 400 pins, and I had no idea.
it's wild.
It was almost like I showed them my NFT wallet, but here they were with these bags of pins. People are really into it, man.
And the Pinnacle
Uh,
Disney pins, the digital collectibles just launched, right? People are getting beta access to those right now, and those are like in the digital sense, right? Like that bridge is being built very effectively, and it won't take long for people to realize that, like, if you're obsessed with pins in that direction, and you and I like we like similar music, right? Like the jam band scene is so pin centric, right? It's everyone's bit like everyone wants pins of like the Grateful Dead and Fish and like all these cool they sell them on the lot and they do all that. There's a huge like pins and collectible area, and once people understand that can be a physical experience but also a digital experience, then it's going to really seal the deal of like why there's value here. So if
That's,
we
what we need are hats that have little areas in the fabric where your digital collectibles can be displayed
there we go.
IRL. That's what we need is fabric screens to make virtual pins,
I'll have
and
my AI guy work on it.
you don't need the VR thing to see them. They're just there through some kind of fiber optics or something.
Yeah,
We're on the cutting edge of technology here,
we got
Nil.
to get the augmented reality life in there, right? That's why No Futuristic rocks his what's it called, his picture glasses nowadays. Once those things go AR, it's game over. We're going to be seeing these digital collectibles everywhere. So I think it's honestly, I think it's closer than we think, and the next generation is going to operate in this sphere so much more seamlessly. They already do. All the relationships are built online, right? You talk about Roblox, you talk about Minecraft, all those things are online already, and all those things are having different digital experiences and building relationships. Those people will want to transact digitally as well from an e-commerce direction. Once that takes hold and once that generation is the spenders and the movers, it's going to make a big difference. It's going to change up how we do everything.
Well, you heard it here, folks. The whole world is changing, and you better get in line for it. Well, I really appreciate you coming out today, Big Nil. We've been going for quite a while, actually. I got a hard time ending conversations with you, man. But I appreciate everybody who came out today, and look forward to seeing you guys on the timeline. Nil, do you have any final words of wisdom or randomness that you'd like to share with everybody before we cut the feed?
No words of wisdom. I think everyone hears me in spaces enough in that direction. I guess the only thing I want to say is like just make this experience the most enjoyable one for you, right? For a long time, like I got very like caught up in like the transactional portion of this space, and that just doesn't like lead to very much longevity here. That leads to burnout. That leads to like a lack of motivation for a lot of different ways. Your collection can sit there and it can be just fine as it is as long as you're providing value. So find your route and you're going to have success out here. If it's memes, great. If it's threads, awesome. If it's spaces, excellent. Do your thing and make yourself happy. And this space will just operate that much better. So appreciate the time today, Brandalf. It really means the world. Our friendship means the world to me. I know that we've got a lot of connections in the real life, and I've literally eaten food prepared from you, not even knowing it. And I think that we've had this connection since like New Year's of 2018 without knowing it. And now we get to say that we have this huge connection through the ecosystem that we're building. And it's been a really special time, brother. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, man. It really is a small world out there. All
Is.
right, guys. Well, this has been Pulse from the Chads Media. We do this every Wednesday at 3 p.m. EST, and we've got our guests booked out through mid-February. So if you are a project that would like to come on for an interview, please just send me a direct message or fill out the application in the Chads Project server, and we will be right there waiting to get you booked up. But for everybody else at the Chads and everyone on the timeline, thank you for coming out. I hope everybody has a great day and a very happy holidays. And with that,